In a busy city lived a young man named Arjun. He was smart, talented, and full of dreams, but also full of fear. Every time an opportunity came his way, a competition, a new project, or even speaking up in front of people, he would think, what if I fail? What if they laugh at me? What if I'm just not good enough? So instead of trying, he did what felt safer. Nothing. He watched others rise while he stood still, convincing himself that the timing wasn't right, or that he'd try next time. But somehow, next time never came. One evening, Arjun sat on the terrace, feeling frustrated. He had just skipped another opportunity, an innovation contest at his college, because he thought he wasn't ready. His grandfather, a retired army man, came up and sat beside him. "Why the long face?" he asked gently. Arjun sighed. "There was this big contest today, but I didn't go. I was scared I'd make a fool of myself." The old man smiled knowingly and said, "You know, when I was young, I used to be scared too. Then one day, I decided to stop asking, 'What if I fail?' and started saying, 'What the hell? Let's try.'" Arjun laughed. "That sounds reckless, Grandpa." "Not reckless," his grandfather replied, his eyes gleaming. "It's courage. What the hell doesn't mean being careless. It means saying, 'I may not know what will happen, but I'll try anyway.' That's how we grow." That night, those words echoed in Arjun's head. What the hell? Let's try. He couldn't sleep. Something inside him shifted. A spark that had been buried under layers of doubt began to glow again. The next morning, Arjun looked in the mirror and said to himself, "What the hell? I've got nothing to lose." He picked up his project idea, one he had secretly worked on for months, and submitted it to the competition's late entry slot. He didn't know if it would win. He didn't even know if it would be accepted. But for the first time in a long while, he felt alive. In the weeks that followed, Arjun poured his heart into his work. He learned, experimented, failed, and tried again. Each time fear whispered, "You can't do this," he replied, "What the hell? Let's see." When the day of the presentation arrived, he stood on stage, trembling. But he did it anyway. His voice shook at first, but soon confidence replaced fear. He didn't win first place, but something far greater happened. He won himself back. He discovered that trying was more important than triumph. That courage wasn't about never being scared. It was about moving forward despite fear. Months later, Arjun found himself saying, "What the hell?" more often. When applying for a new job, when speaking to people, when chasing ideas he once thought were impossible. He realized that life changes the moment you stop waiting for perfect conditions and start acting anyway. Sometimes the most powerful words you can say are, "What the hell? Let's try." Because success begins the moment you stop fearing failure and start moving forward. Fear asks, "What if I fail?" Courage answers, "What the hell? Let's try."